In the recent past, humanity has faced frequent disastrous events, and with advancement of space technology, mapping of disastrous events made easier. Today, we have with us an eminent scientist and experts in the field, Dr. G. Prusty, ex-scientist DRDO, interviewed by Senior Editor Liju Joseph. Welcome to AanWorld.
Welcome to AanWorld Network. We are
Thank you.
launching a new program, namely Technology and Disasters, a travelogue by the veterans. When we talk about technology, Geospatial Information System, shortly we can say it is GIS, is very prominent considering the application both in disasters and its use in defense services. Today, we have Dr. Ganesh Prusty, retired Chief Scientist of Defense Terrain Research Laboratory, DRDO. His more than 25 years of service to the nation is remarkable in terms of terrain profile analysis for off-road trafficability, high resolution, digital elevation, particularly in defense point of view. Dr. Prusty has done his PhD in applied geology from IIT Bombay and a postgraduate diploma in remote sensing from IRS DRDO. He is a renowned scientist in geo-environmental studies and Geo-Spatial Technologies. Let us welcome Dr. Prusty. Namaskar, sir. Welcome to AanWorld.
Sir.
Please tell us about your marathon journey in DRTL and your landmark achievements.
Sir, basically, after my PhD, I joined DRDO, and last 30 years I was with the DRDO only, and my laboratory was Defense Terrain Research Laboratory. Coincidentally, just after my retirement, I superannuated in August 2020. After my retirement, the laboratory is renamed as DGRE, Defense Geospatial Research Establishment.
DRTL is one of the service organizations, and besides providing trafficability maps for the services, it also provides consultancy service for landslide hazard zonation. Landslide is common natural hazard, as we all know, eventually happening in the Himalayan region, especially in Uttarakhand area. Will you please explain as to how landslide susceptibility mapping can help in reducing loss in human life and other resources due to frequent landslide, especially during rainy season?
Sir, in fact, DTRL is not service organization. It is it's a R&D laboratory under DRDO. And after its merger with SASE, Snow and Avalanche Studies, it is renamed as DGRE, Defense Geospatial Research Establishment. And primarily, we are working for trafficability assessment of terrain for military applications. In fact, it is not, we are not giving any consultancy, but as a requirement of Army, we have to do terrain evaluation. Our primary customers are Army, Navy, and Air Force. We need to address all the requirements of the user related to terrain. Hence, landslide hazard studies are also being done by us since its inception itself, apart from trafficability assessment. During the process, we have collaborated with institutions apart from GSI also. Trafficability maps are being done to find out the landslide susceptibility. So all terrain factors are being collated to find out and zone it to find out the susceptibility of landslides.
Right, sir.
Once we are doing for Army, the same thing can be used for the civilian purpose also.
Okay, sir.
So proper monitoring of potential vulnerable sites may help in establishing early warning also. In fact,
Okay.
like a susceptibility mapping is a core scale mapping or zonation of the landslide prone areas. Here, it will helpful for early warning, identification of potential vulnerable sites. It will help to establish emergency, evacuation and all. Thank you, sir.
Okay, you mean to say this is more easily applicable for the civilian use only?
Civilian
To
also.
establish, right. Another important point which I want to discuss with you is the scarcity of drinking water is a common phenomenon, especially in various parts of the country. Please enlighten us uh, as to how remote sensing and geospatial geological assessment can alleviate the problem.
Once we're looking for drinking water, so drinking water is available in the surface or subsurface in some aquifers. So there are 5 factors which will identify where water is more. First is if there is luxuriant growth of vegetation, natural vegetation, there we will say water source is there. Then secondly, if the rock is fractured or structural disturbances are more, then source of water will be more. Third is presence of weaker zones sandstone, limestone, then slate, shale, all those places where rock is a little disturbed or soil is having the property of holding the water. So these things can easily be identified by using remote sensing or geospatial technologies.
Right.
Sir.
Sir, as we know, you have made predominant studies on terrain off-road trafficability, potential on various terrains. Kindly tell us how the peculiar terrain in our border areas could be used as a force multiplier for the defense services.
Yeah. Terrain analysis is how to analyze the terrain for transportation of weapons, arms, and the manpower. So force multiplier, there are 2 things we need to see. One is suppose there are lot of natural obstacles. Natural obstacles are there, then it is if we identify the natural obstacles, then we can say this terrain is difficult for movement of the enemy. So for offensive or defensive purpose also we can see. Suppose our enemy is doing the terrain analysis in our terrain. Terrain analysis can be done without going to the field. So through remote sensing, they can do analysis of our terrain. So we need to know, what are the obstacles, including natural disasters or landslides occurs in our area or in the enemy area, so that we can get prepared, and this can be used as a force multiplier. Suppose a placement of the arms and ammunition in the enemy area or in our area. So if we are able to identify, then we can defend it better. Similarly, if we know where our enemy will target, then accordingly we can get prepared to counter their offensive actions. And another thing, suppose we flooding is also a natural disaster. Suppose flooding, we flood the terrain. If the enemy is advancing, then we can arrest them for a couple of hours or a couple of days, so that we can get prepared in the meantime. Similarly, we should know like in our terrain, what can be done by enemy, so that we should get prepared to counter their activities. Sir.
Okay, that means it is very useful for the defense forces for their safe movement, or it can be a blockade for the enemy.
Yeah, exactly, sir.
Okay, sir. Then this DRG it's a defense organization and working specifically for defense purpose. What do you think? Whether we need more study and research in evaluating terrain and assessing the mobility potential in inaccessible areas for prediction of terrain characteristics beyond the ambit of defense requirements. I'm talking about beyond the ambit of this defense requirements. And then now, are you satisfied with the present initiatives, including budgetary support from the government of India in this?
In fact, defense activities are terrain need of defense people is on the border areas. As you know, most of our border areas are forward areas are on Himalayas, so high altitude terrain. So there, apart from defense people, like civilians are also staying, and the technology what we are developing for the high altitude battlefields, same thing can be utilized for Western Ghats, for other similar terrain, so that we can use the same technology for our use. And as far as what is the second part of the question, sir?
So what I was saying is, are you satisfied with the present initiatives from the government side on the study in this field, including budgetary support from the government?
Budgetary support is mostly proportional to what you ask for. So okay. I don't think as far as DRDO is concerned, there is any problem for getting budgetary support. If you are looking for higher technology, higher things, and if our looking for better things, I think there is no paucity of funds for doing any research on the terrain in DRDO.
Sir, there is no doubt for DRDO there is no scarcity of budget and all. But my question is about, are you satisfied with the present system for the studies with some other universities? So it should not be kept within the DRDO only. I can very well understand that
till now we do not have any constraint in collaborating with other institutions or doing any sort of research. But definitely, we should plan big. Then only we should ask for more budget and all. So if you are thinking I'm satisfied with this much research, it is okay. Till now, there is not much problem in DRDO environment.
Okay. Now, sir, how could we effectively use these new technologies and geospatial tools for better disaster management and mitigation?
For disaster management, in fact, we need to know all the terrain factors. Disaster management, the source of disaster is terrain. Natural terrain.
Of course.
Terrain analysis, geological, geospatial, geological, geophysical studies, coupled with the technology of GIS, GPS, and the remote sensing. Definitely, it is helpful for disaster management. Not only management, we can look into the source of the natural source of disaster. So for hazard mitigation, it is a part of, in fact, it is required.
Right. So again, connected to the same subject, I'm asking one more question, sir. How beneficial to use geospatial tools for advanced early warning system to alleviate disasters?
For advanced early warning system, terrain analysis is must. As you know, like a terrain analysis must. Unless we know about the terrain, we cannot go ahead with warning. Like
Right.
we must know how is the terrain, and landslide hazard zonation based on the geo-environmental parameters we need to do, and it should go as an input to the early warning. Once we go for early warning, we can go for evacuation. I mean, we can warn. We need to along with terrain, like rainfall condition, we must know. If both the factors are there, then only early warning can be done. And early warning will help us in evacuation or planning of our deployment, or like how army will move and all. We can find out those things in a better way.
Right. Sir, again, it is a question that is useful for our viewers,
Sir,
especially for civilian people. I'm not talking about defense only.
sir.
How can geospatial tools technology can be used at development or construction stage to make projects more resistant to disasters? What suggestions would you like to give?
Sir, with the use of remote sensing and other geospatial technology, we must understand the terrain, or geology and geophysics of the terrain, so that, like while planning dams and other road and all development activities in high altitude area, accordingly we should plan. Or suppose if we feel that it is a high risk area, we can avoid them. And then similarly, if it is earthquake prone area, then we should go for single storied building or something like that. I mean, and foundation should be strong and all those things. So these things, the base is geospatial analysis. Unless we know the geology, structural features of the terrain, definitely we should not plan for any big construction activities in the Himalayan terrain, such as high altitude terrain.
Hi. Sir, again, there are, when we know whatever be the technology, there are everywhere, there will always be a limitation in its implementation. In case of geospatial tools, so what are the limitations in implementation for in the perspective of disaster management and its mitigation?
Sir, so I will just list out 4 or 5 limitations here. First
Right.
is high resolution spatial products. If the resolution is higher,
Right.
suppose remote sensing data you are getting, if the resolution is higher, then it will be more costly. That is first thing. And secondly, accuracy should be higher. But accuracy will be higher means you have to go for better and better geospatial models. Then third one, I will look for we should go for AI based tools, and the model should be very strong. And what for geospatial analysis, whatever tools we are getting, say we should go for geo-visualization, we should go for image analysis or image processing, we should go for developing models. All three, and terrain is very big, so we require big data. So all four things should be in one platform or one software system. The availability of software for each one, you are going for different tools or different softwares. So it becomes more clumsy. Accordingly, in DTRL, we have developed one software, Survey Check, where geo-visualization, image processing, geographic information system, and database management, all four things can club together in one software so that it is very easy to handle the data, handle the geospatial analysis. And this software is this is developed with military survey of army, and it is being used in defense environment. And I feel similar things should be developed by the public, commercial people also.
Civilian use.
Civilian use. It can be used for civilian also, but because of certain restrictions, it is not being given to the civilian people. Otherwise, such softwares are need of the day.
Right. So, the survey check, which is the software which you developed, it is being used by defense forces.
Yeah, it is being used, sir.
It is being used. So now let me understand one more thing, sir. For successful implementation, you always said there are some proper tools and proper softwares. Would you like to share us some of the examples in successful implementation and of geospatial technology in disaster management?
I am not taking the example of Survey Check or our own development. But if you remember, in 1971, there was one cyclone. Cyclone is also a natural disaster. That is why I'm giving that example. In Bangladesh, because of one super cyclone, 1 lakh people were died. Right. In 99, in Orissa super cyclone, around 10,000 people were died. And in 2008, there was another super cyclone in Orissa again. There was no death. The intensity of all three super cyclones were same. But you can see, like with the passage of time and the development of technology, like you can save so much. I'm giving example of super cyclone only because the intensity of cyclone is similar, are almost same in all three cases. That is why that example I have given. Landslides we have, there are regions, different regions, but definitely the death ratio is decreasing day by day because of development of technology and people's participation and people's, they are more aware of cyclone, either cyclone or landslide or this thing, all these hazards.
Yeah. Sir, apart from this geospatial technology and the tools, I would like to understand one more very crucial problem which we are facing now. As per the reports, China is planning for construction of one big dam on Yarlung-Jangpur River, which flows through Tibet and eventually become Brahmaputra, without entering into any water sharing agreements either with India or Bangladesh. Both Brahmaputra and the Ganges glaciers that feed Ganges originate in China, that we know, and it have an advantageous position to prevent water from flowing downstream. Please tell us how such unadventurous activity by China could hamper the ecosystem, especially in India, and its adverse effects on our country.
Whatever China is doing, it is unacceptable. Still, they are putting dams to divert the water to their hinterland. Some places like desertic areas which are little higher, still with technology, they want to divert the water. Diversion of water is okay. Yarlung Sangpo is giving only 30 to 40% of water to Brahmaputra. Other 70% is coming from Arunachal Pradesh, catchment area only. So, as far as water starvation is concerned, we may not face much. But if they use the dam to flood our territory, whatever they have done in 2000 AD, if same thing happens, then there is problem. And if 70% water comes from our territory, still if there is some water content is less, definitely ecological problem will come. And as for similar situation we are facing with Pakistan, where we are in advantageous position for Indus River, and because of our Indus Treaty in 1960, because of our treaty, we are not stopping the water. Same thing, and we have some sort of treaty with Pakistan. Same thing should happen with China, but they are not allowing it. It is unethical. Still, as far as flooding, starvation of water is concerned, India is not going to affect that much what public is thinking of.
So we can understand.
Sir.
Say, as you rightly said, taking water from the river, that may not be a much problem to our country. But again, if they want to make a flood or something like that, then it would be a problem.
It is possible.
Yeah, that is always possible. But the point which I want to understand, sir, is there any system we are developing to stop it?
I don't think it is possible, because naturally it is in higher position. They are in higher position and they are playing with the water. So definitely but still we have done some modeling study, and we have found out how much time it will take to reach our different places. So the period may be 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, 12 hours to reach to different places along the Brahmaputra river. Still, some sort of early warning we are able to get. How much area it will flood, those studies we have done. We are prepared for it. Still, if some problem wants to be created by China, definitely we will have problem.
So it means that we need to have a very serious look on that issue.
Yeah, exactly, sir.
Right. Sir, as you know, we are a startup with a very pious intention to make awareness among the students, researchers, as well as general public about various issues and development on environment, climate change, natural and man-made disasters happening across the country. As well as we are concentrating on global developments on various technologies. Sir, we are a startup with a very pious intention to make awareness among the students, researchers, as well as general public about various issues and development on environment, climate change, natural and man-made disasters happening across the country as well as global developments. We are first to showcase the new technologies evolved across the globe and better use of artificial intelligence and robotics. How do you see the importance of such initiatives in the present state?
Since a couple of years, AI and machine learning are being used in geospatial technology, geospatial modeling. Definitely, once you are talking about awareness in the public, so capacity building is the need of the hour. We should look for more capacity building among the students, among the public, and suppose landslide prone area. If evacuation planning system and disaster management, those things is being known by the public. So once we go for early warning, warning can be given couple of hours, couple of days before. Not much. We cannot. To some places, I can say these are the most prone area or less prone area, or once rainfall is occurring. In fact, rainfall or weather prediction is also now better and better. No problem. With all these things, if capacity building is developed at grassroots itself, then it will help to the public. And both the things, capacity building and understanding of terrain, where they are. Suppose I'm staying in Delhi, I must know, or our people must know about the geology and geography of the local area, so that if some disaster occurs, they can get prepared. So preparedness is the buzzword now. And for that, capacity building is the requirement of the day.
So you very rightly said, sir, capacity building, which I think we are lacking somewhere.
Sir.
So we need to push upon the capacity building, especially for school children and college students.
Exactly, sir.
And researchers, I also feel that, sir, this field is a very, very huge one, and the researchers should involve to develop a lot of new innovations.
Sir, a disciplinary approach should be there, and the person who is doing modeling and all, he looks for modeling. The terrain person looks for terrain only. So if both are understandable by both the people, then definitely we can go ahead in a better manner, sir.
Right. That means integration of all the fields that you mean to see, and especially artificial intelligence and robotics, which are now developing very fast.
Sir.
So these things are very much applicable and very useful for the society also.
Sir.
So how do you think, how do you feel that, sir, the initiatives such as what we are doing right now is helpful for the students and researchers?
Sir, apart from these things, awareness, we need to go for capacity building in terrain, as well as the effects of these disasters. They should, local people must know. And at a nowadays, in the school itself, we are talking about geography. So apart from geography, we should go for geology and disaster management to some extent. Then people will be more encouraged to help at the time of disasters.
You rightly said, sir. That means we need a basic education, this disaster management, artificial intelligence, and geospatial technology, and all these tools should be included in the basic education system. It's so that our children, when they're grown up, they should understand what it is and how they could react to any disasters, whatever it happens. I think, sir, you have very widely you said. And sir, what is your advice to young students and researchers on study of climate change and disasters and application of these technologies or remote sensing to mitigate the present crisis, which we are nowadays facing? Because climate change, which, as you know, is happening everywhere, and not only in our country, but entire globe, which we are facing. So what would be your advice, sir?
I can say again and again, capacity building is the need of the hour. And at grassroots level itself, we should introduce introduce these things so that, they will be more aware. Suppose Mughal history is asked. Everyone knows, but certain things we are lacking. Those things, we should strengthen the society in such a manner. We should be aware of all those disasters, local disasters. Like, if a person is staying in Odisha, he must know about the effect of cyclone. If a person is staying in Uttarakhand, he must know much about landslides and earthquakes. A person is staying in some other place where more earthquakes are happening. So he should have the like structural geology part of thing, and like what are the effects because of earthquake, he must know, so that he will get prepared in a better manner, and try to help others to alleviate the problems. Natural hazards cannot be stopped, but it can, we can alleviate the problems to some extent. As I have given an example, like, in 71, the death of this thing because of cyclone was 1 lakh. In 99, similar super cyclone, it was 10,000. And today, Feni, no death at all. So, because people are more aware, and how to help, how to do the things, not only in grassroots level, in management level also, lot of improvement can be done, is being done. And people are more aware of the things, disasters. That is why people, we are facing towards a better world. And same thing may happen. We can go for no tolerance. We cannot tolerate landslide at all. If something happens, landslide, there will be no problem. We can find that situation once we are putting these things in managing the terrain, as well as we are aware of the things. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. You have spared
Thank you,
a
sir.
lot of time with us, and we really appreciate the eagerness and the intents which you said, the need of capacity building, especially in this field. And we appreciate also that you very clearly said about the geospatial tools which we need to have, and which we developed in our country itself, and which are very useful for the country as well as for the education system. Thank you very much, sir. And
Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
This is all about technology and disasters, a travelogue by the veterans. We will come with some other veterans in some other fields. Please be with us, subscribers. This is from AanWorld Networks. Signing off, Liju Joseph.